What's going on, guys? It's Marcus here with Discover Ignite, and today I actually have another book review for you guys. Now, the particular book I'm talking about today is called Unscripted by MJ DeMarco, and this book is phenomenal. I love this book. I've read it multiple times. So without further ado, let's get started. So like I said, I have read one of MJ DeMarco's books before, and that was called Millionaire Fastlane, and that book was phenomenal, right? It actually changed my mindset about what an entrepreneur really was, right? And what it could actually provide for you if you took on that role, right? And so it led me up to this book, right? The Unscripted book, because I heard it was more of a book on just people in general, right? The scripted life, right? And becoming unscripted was essentially an entrepreneur. And I read this book, and it really opened my eyes, right? Because you have to remember, MJ DeMarco, he, actually as a young kid, he went to a convenience store, right? And he saw this Lamborghini, and as we all may expect, you expect some older guy, older gentleman, or older woman to come out and jump into the Lamborghini. Well, it wasn't. There was this young man that actually came out and was getting into the car. And so MJ DeMarco couldn't help himself. He wanted to know what that guy did, right? He was a young man. He wanted that life, right? And so he went up to the guy and said, "Hey, what do you do?" And the guy says, "I'm an entrepreneur." And at that point, he was obsessed with trying to become an entrepreneur. He didn't know what the word meant. He didn't know anything about it, right? And all he did was go back and research, right? It went many years with, not having hardly anything and being, dead broke, until, he actually had a limousine. He worked for a limousine service. And at that point in his life, worked there for a while and then started creating a business, right? An online business, just when, online businesses were making a boom, and created this whole thing based around limousine services, and ended up selling the company, I think only for a couple $1 million. And he walked away for a year, and whoever it was that actually purchased this online business actually drove it to the ground, and he actually ended up buying it back with the last, I think, couple $100,000 that he had left. And he ended up making it into this multi-million-dollar business, I believe, and he ended up selling it again. And he lives the life where he doesn't have to work if he doesn't want to, and he chooses to do that. And he goes out and writes books and does a bunch of different random things where he feels like he could actually be helpful to somebody. And so this book just kind of gets into that, right? It goes into the whole how the processes and the systems that are set up lead us down this journey, that if you don't graduate high school and go to college and achieve these big careers, that you are not going to be a success, that you will be a failure. And if you do anything outside of that's essentially you're going against the grain. And this book just really puts a lot of different things in perspective about that, right? About the two different sides, about how, do you really want to work till you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, even possibly later than that, especially, a lot of these younger generations, you won't have Social Security to rely on. Not that you should rely on that stuff, but that none of that stuff's going to be there, right? That you should be able to, build something that will give you that money up front while you're still young, while you're still able to do stuff, and not wait till you're 65 or 70 years old to be able to retire and enjoy it, right? Where you can't do anything, right? You can't do all the fun stuff you can do now. And that was his mindset. And it's really intriguing about how he built this business. And then, he took off for a year and he didn't know what to do. Like, he was like, I have this money, I'm essentially set for life. If I play my cards right, I'm essentially set for life. And that's, he spent that year away, and he was hungry. And then he was also watching the new owners of his old company started tanking his old business. And so, he wanted to take it back and build it up to something again, right? And he did that. And it's just astonishing of how his thought process was, right? Because even when he was doing the coding and stuff for all this stuff, for his website, for his limousine service, like, he didn't know any of that stuff. Like, he taught himself how to code. He built everything out, and And nowadays, you know, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these tools, like, right, like I code, and a lot of people out there, like, you don't need a code. Like, there's so many different services out there to where, you know, it's just drag and drop and bam, you got a website. And then he didn't have any of that stuff. He coded everything from scratch, and it was just astonishing on how he did all that stuff. And he made it, right? And then now his sole purpose now is just to help people get out of this unscripted life and live a life where, you know, they can do what they want, right? They can be their own masters and commanders and control their life, control their destiny, and make the money to, you know, help their families, help charities, actually be able to, you know, have the money to do those things and not worry about, you know, what was going to happen next. And again, this book is fantastic for someone that has never really thought about entrepreneurship, right? Or because I know that's like where I was coming from, right? Like I knew of entrepreneurship, but I didn't really know a lot about it, right? And I read that book and it just completely opened my eyes to, you know, I've been living this scripted life, and it's like I've made it to the top essentially in that scripted life, right? Like there wasn't much further I could go in that scripted life, and now like I myself want to live the unscripted life and, you know, be the entrepreneur that's in control of my destiny and actually, you know, do the things that I want to do on my time. And this book really just brings that into, you know, reality, right? It gets you in that mindset. And again, if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, that's perfectly fine, but I would highly suggest that you read this book. If you are an entrepreneur, want to be an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be, this book is just a phenomenal read. And for those people that, you know, may feel like they don't want to be an entrepreneur, this book might seem a little bit out there, and it is, right? And I think to be an entrepreneur, you have to have that kind of mindset, right? You have to be out there, and you can't have the normal thinking, right? You can't have that structured thinking, you know, that us growing up, that's how it was, right? And you had to go to college, and you had to get that high-paying job, or get, you know, that government service job, or whatever it was that, you know, would pay you for the rest of your life. And to be honest, none of that stuff exists anymore, right? You can't find jobs that will, you know, pay a retirement, pay a pension. None of that hardly exists, right? It's almost rare to even find jobs like that anymore. And we're going down this realm of entrepreneurship, right? It's a bunch of gigs, right? This is how everything is. This is what everything is going towards, is doing these gigs and doing entrepreneurship. And if you don't educate yourself on it now, you may be hurting, you know, 10, 20 years down the road when you are wondering, why do I have to keep jumping jobs and doing jobs? And the truth of the matter is, you know, the writing is already on the wall, right? It's already out there, and a lot of people are already living this way. And this book really opens your eyes to that and helps you realize that, yes, that you could get so much further ahead just if you just changed your mindset and looked at it from a different angle. And yes, it does seem crazy, but I mean, if you're driven, you can do it, right? You can go out and achieve these great things and leave a legacy. If you have kids or whatever, you leave that legacy for them, right? And that's just something to think about. But as far as like anything else in this book, as far as like any cons or anything, I have no cons on this book. And I know I probably say that a lot in my book reviews, but this book was phenomenal, right? And there was absolutely no cons. I mean, there was a lot of things in this book that it really, again, makes you think about where your life is headed, right? And to really project what's going to happen to your life, you know, 20, 30 years down the road. A lot of people don't even think about that, right? They think maybe 5, 10 years down the road, and well, as long as I can contribute to this 401k, you know, I'll be okay, and it'll eventually just take me there. And then when I turn 65, 70, I can retire and then do whatever I want. But, you know, to be honest, you know, I've worked with people that thought the same thing, and then there again at, you know, 75, 80, they were forced to go back to the workforce. And that's just the mindset we really have to change. You really have to think about these things, right? Because they are real, right? And unless you want to be frugal and not enjoy life. I'm not saying to be extravagant, not by any means at all, but what I'm saying is you should have control over your life, right? You shouldn't have to worry about money, and so many of us worry about money, and this book will change your mindset on, you know, if you put in the time and the effort up front, you can build something that will generate you massive amounts of money that can essentially make yourself retire early, right? Because that's what we'd all love to do, but do we have the drive to do that? And so again, this book, it opens your mind to that stuff. It makes you take that red pill, and it makes you, you know, see things differently. And so if you are at all interested, I will leave that book down in the comments below. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button. And until next time, I will see you guys later.